Hi, everyone. We were tasked with using transformational theory to address the need of OT profession to attract, cultivate, and support people from all backgrounds, as well as to increase diversity, equity, and inclusion in OTA and OT programs in the United States. Transformational leadership theory first emerged through the work of political sociologist James McGregor Burns, where he attempted to link the roles of followers and leaders, as well as explore the ways in which motivation impacts goal achievement. Burns viewed leadership not as power, but with the mindset that the needs of the followers are just as important as the goals to be achieved. With that, transformational leadership aims to engage and emphasize the specific factors that motivate followers and provide opportunity for further development. With the focus on values, emotions, standards, goal setting, and ethics, transformational leaders encourage followers to accomplish more than they could imagine and beyond what is expected of them or what is believed to be achievable. Within transformational leadership, there are four core components. These components are idealized influence, inspirational motivation, intellectual motivation, and individualized consideration. According to Walumba and Hartnell, a leader emulating idealized influence provides an identification that promotes self-efficacy through cognitive, emotional, and moral factors. Idealized influence allows a leader to demonstrate by example what is expected and encourage adoption of the same organizational goals and aims by a follower. Through inspirational motivation, a transformational leader will motivate a team to contribute to the goals of an organization. With poor psychological well-being of followers, goal achievement is far more difficult, thus emphasizing that inspirational motivation is an important factor contributing to the overall effectiveness of a team. In addition to inspirational motivation, a transformational leader will use intellectual motivation to encourage intellectual stimulation. With intellectual stimulation, followers will be encouraged to explore new ways to problem solve, generate new ideas, and find solutions to issues that the team faces. Individuals with low levels of self-efficacy are less likely to initiate solutions to problems and will seldomly contribute to team brainstorming sessions. Lastly, a transformational leader will utilize individualized consideration. With individualized consideration, a leader identifies individual strengths of followers and delegates tasks according to the individual's ability. The leader helps followers reach self-actualization by encouraging skill development, both with skills one may already possess, as well as skills that an individual may wish to develop. We have included a short video that explores transformational leadership theory and its core components more in depth.
Say hello to Sophie. Sophie is a leader. Everyone respects Sophie. Her team members are fiercely loyal, and they're highly successful as individuals and as a team. By contrast, other leaders in the organization report that their people seem disengaged. They experience high staff turnover, and their results are often disappointing. So what does Sophie do that other leaders don't? To begin with, she regularly reminds her team members of the purpose of their work. And she knows that she's a role model for her team, so she demonstrates integrity in all of her working relationships. She sets high expectations, but walks the walk to demonstrate the standards that she expects. Sophie is a transformational leader. But what is transformational leadership? Leadership expert James Burns introduced the concept of transformational leadership in his 1978 book called Leadership. He defined it as a process where leaders and their followers raise one another to higher levels of morality and motivation. Bass later developed the concept further. According to his 1985 book, Leadership and Performance Beyond Expectations, this kind of leader is a model of integrity and fairness, sets clear goals, has high expectations, encourages others, provides support and recognition, stirs the emotions of people, gets people to look beyond their self-interest, inspires people to reach for the improbable. There are 5 elements that make up the transformational leader. The first is called idealized influence and is broken down into attitudes and behaviors. Idealized influence describes leaders who are respected, admired, and trusted. The next element is inspirational motivation and is about inspiring others to achieve their full potential by showing enthusiasm and optimism and providing meaning and challenge. Intellectual stimulation is about encouraging creativity and fostering an atmosphere in which people feel compelled to think about old problems in a new way. Finally, individualized consideration is the element that deals with the coaching and mentoring, thinking of individual contributors rather than a group as a whole. And there you have it. This is what transformational leadership is all about. That's great, but how do you become a transformational leader? That's easy, but it involves a bit of hard work. First, create an inspiring vision for the future. Next, motivate your people to buy into and deliver the vision. You would also need to manage the delivery of that vision. And finally, build strong, trust-based relationships with your people. Say hello to Sophie.
The next slide pertains to a statement and statistics that AOTA has released on their website. So the first one is AOTA released a mission statement pertaining to diversity and inclusion within the profession. The statement says occupational therapy is poised to lead in diversity, equity, and inclusion to maximize the health, well-being, and participation of all peoples, groups, and populations. AOTA will continue to promote Allied Health Workforce Diversity Act, which already passed in the House of Representatives, and which would help to recruit and retain students from underrepresented backgrounds into occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech language pathology, and audiology programs. According to AOTA's 2015 Salary and Workforce Survey, the percentage of occupational therapy practitioners identifying themselves as African American or Black is only 3.1%, and those identifying as Hispanic or Latino is 3.2%. Only about 1.4% identify as multi-ethnic. The Allied Health Workforce Diversity Act was released Tuesday, May 18th of 2021, and this act was introduced by the representatives Bobby Rush and Marwayne Wooleen in the House by Senators Bob Casey and Lisa Murkowski in the Senate. This legislation will help to increase the diversity of the occupational therapy workforce and was first championed by the American Occupational Therapy Association in the last Congress. The Allied Health Workforce Diversity Act recognizes that it is vital to ensure that the makeup of the healthcare workforce in the United States evolves to mirror the makeup of the population. Having a more diverse workforce helps close the gap on provider shortages while improving the ability of healthcare workforce to effectively address the healthcare needs of all Americans. If passed, the bill would provide grant funding to academic programs to increase opportunities for individuals who are from underrepresented backgrounds, including students from racial and ethnic minorities, in the professions occupational therapy, physical therapy, respiratory therapy, speech language pathology, and audiology. This legislation creates a program administered by the Health Resources and Service Administrations and funding to ensure the flexibility to adapt to changes to what groups are underrepresented in order to grow with a changing health workforce. So the next slide kind of pertains to solution number one in order to increase diversity, equity, and inclusion in OTA and OT programs in the US. So the first one is creating a community of advocates to champion for legislation, which will help to increase funding to programs and will benefit diversity and inclusion efforts for OT and OTA programs. Advocacy groups can take on the responsibility of recruiting therapists from the field to join together. With this initiative, an OT community of practice can be formed in order to provide support, facilitate discussion, activities, and learning. A community of practice can advocate at state and national OT conferences in order to recruit more members, network, and spread the message about increasing diversity, equity, and inclusion in OTA and OT programs in the US. An example of the influence a community of practice can have may include teaming up with local OTA and OT student occupational therapy associations to volunteer in job job fairs at local high school, colleges, and community centers in order to spread the word and advocate for OT as a profession, while also recruiting a variety of individuals from various socioeconomic, ethnic, and cultural backgrounds. The Community of Practice group can also advocate to maintain the current education levels of OTA and OT programs. In recent years, AOTA has been fighting to change the degree levels for OTA and OT programs from an associate's degree to a bachelor's degree, and changing the master's level to an entry-level doctorate. Although I believe it is important to maintain the credibility of occupational therapy within the medical professional world, by changing the degree requirements makes pursuing a degree in OT inaccessible to so many. Speaking from my own experience, I know so many wonderful OTA therapists who chose an associate's degree program as a second career. If the degree level changed to an entry-level bachelor's degree, this would deter individuals from the program due to the increase in time spent to get a degree, as well as the cost of higher education levels. By changing the degree, the level would actually decrease the diversity and inclusion by limiting availability to communities of individuals from a diverse socioeconomic and cultural backgrounds. The transformational leadership theory will be the basis for this solution in order to emphasize factors that motivate followers and provide opportunity for the follower to develop their own motivation. By creating a community of advocates motivated by the same ideals will help increase the motivation of others within the profession in order to increase the interest and participation of individuals from other diverse backgrounds.
Another solution to increase diversity, equity, and inclusion in OTA programs in the U.S. would be to have a diverse sample of faculty and students work together to develop an evidence-based curriculum that includes these components in much of its core curricula, including suggestions from other current students and faculty. A focus on evidence-based practice has currently been accelerating in occupational therapy and occupational therapy assistant programs. Evidence-based practice accepts various forms of study designs, including qualitative, quantitative, and more. Specifically, when addressing diversity issues, research focuses on the use of qualitative studies, clinical observations, systematic case studies, and interventions derived in naturalistic settings in order to develop solutions for the issue. To stay within this movement, the students and faculty in this program can look into studies using these designs, as well as others as they form the curriculum so that the program only includes evidence-based information. This will help to provide other institutions with the evidence that students and faculty members can work together, and that their revised program curriculum will in fact promote these increases. In the future, a study may be done on this curriculum, which will show its personal effectiveness and trustworthiness in including these components in comparison to other curriculums which do not involve this larger, more diverse team of individuals. In order to address the increase of diversity, equity, and inclusion with an evidence-based approach, the transformational leader will utilize the core components of the transformational leadership theory and foster a team approach. Through the use of individualized consideration, the leader delegates the task of developing the curriculum to the faculty and students, inviting them to use their own personal strengths and diverse perspectives, but challenging them to provide evidence for their contributions. Having students and faculty work together promotes a sense of equity and idealized influence, as the students are able to work alongside faculty as equals, but also see what is expected of them through faculty mentor demonstrations and strengthen their self-efficacy as they work on high-stakes projects for their peers and future students. Not only this, but by being included within this team, the students are shown an expectation of inclusion in the future in their programs, clinical settings, and lives where they can become the mentor. In this scenario, they are intellectually stimulated to generate ideas and solutions to the problem of a lack of diversity, equity, and inclusion in their program in which they work, attend, or attended. They can further stimulate other students and faculty not partaking directly through surveys, questionnaires, and forums in order to make sure they are getting both a representation of the current status of diversity, inclusion, and equity in the program, as well as finding the most holistic and best solutions from the extended team. All students and faculty will be intellectually motivated as they are encouraged to push the boundaries and explore diversity in their own OT program. They are even more likely inspired and motivated to help as they have seen the problem firsthand and the solution to the problem relates specifically to them and their future colleagues. Creating a curriculum which enhances these components, whereas the program encompasses perspectives of real diverse students and are backed by evidence-based research, will promote the longevity of the program and the promotion of these concepts in students after program completion. Creating a program itself by a wide variety of individuals increases the diversity of the program, inclusion, and equity. This solution requires a leader who can successfully adapt to a transformational leadership approach. As it is a team approach, the primary leadership style that would fit would be a considerate leader. However, it really requires leaders of many types, which can all bring different aspects to the table to promote change. As transformational leadership theory adopts a team approach, it will encompass individuals of many different leadership styles. These individuals will be utilized at different times within the development of the curriculum. Building the curriculum will need harmony within the team as supported by those in the considerate style, motivational support by those who are spirited, direct instruction to enhance members that need it, and structure and detail-oriented eyes from those identifying in the systematic leadership category. So for final thoughts and questions for practice, we thought questions such as, how can students be provoked to advocate for diversity within their curriculum? How can a sense of community evolve? What motivates it? In what ways can you stimulate intellectual curiosity for students? And how can diversity, inclusion, and equity continue after program completion? Let us know your thoughts. Thanks for watching. These are our references.